On. Hopefully you guys can hear me. Somebody just give me a thumbs up if you can hear the audio. I am doing YouTube live right now, so if you're watching this after the fact, everything is live, unedited, so I apologize if I make any mistakes at all. I just like doing these things live because then you can ask me questions and I can answer your questions live, plus I got some questions right here. Just figured we can have some fun, answer a few questions, talk about iPads, iOS stuff, all that kind of, just fun stuff. So somebody give me a thumbs up if you can hear me and the audio is good. I always worry about that because it's kind of hard to control with everything. So yeah, let's kind of get into it. So the first question I got here is, how do you back up your iPad? iCloud only? This is one thing I really want Apple to fix in iOS 13. I think it's kind of ridiculous that the only way to back up your iPad or your iOS device is somebody just mentioned the frame rate's very low. That's going to be a YouTube live thing, unfortunately. Hopefully it gets it fixes itself here. I know I have all my stuff shut off here, so hopefully it's a YouTube end and they get it fixed really quickly. But that is a good point. If there is problems with the live stream itself, the actual video that is being recorded right now will get uploaded as soon as the live stream is done. So if there's issues with it, it'll get uploaded later. But back to the backup question, I very much want Apple to open up the backup option to third parties like Backblaze and stuff. The iCloud backup is fine when you're moving from device to device or if you lose a device, but somebody just mentioned it's unwatchable. Is it really that bad right now? I'm sorry if you guys are having bad frame rate issues. Hopefully it gets kind of fixed over time. Is the audio at least good? But I really want to see Apple do Backblaze, something like Backblaze, or open it up to third parties like Backblaze, so you could do file and folder backups, and you could do more granular backups, not just a whole device backup, and the only way to restore is to restore the whole device. I also use things like Dropbox too, so you can use their file restoration deal, but that's not a true backup. That's really not a backup. There's not a good just file and folder backup. Yeah, some people have said audio is great, but pixelated and low frame rate for the live stream. I'm sorry if that's the case. That's the problem with doing these live streams. You have very little control over them. Hopefully it gets resolved. I'll figure something out next time for it. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just the way these things go. Francesco from the Keep Productive YouTube channel, he did a video on my channel, and I did a video on his. He asked, what are your thoughts on applications like Coda and the automation systems within them? I like Coda. Coda is an app I use a lot. I use its FTP options, and I write some code in it for some personal projects and stuff like that. But automation stuff that I'm using a lot, obviously shortcuts I use a lot, and I've been playing with Scriptable a lot more. I'm not that great when it comes to JavaScript. That's why I really haven't done a video on it. I'm almost embarrassed to show off what I've written because it's really not good. But it does the trick. It's almost like using a jackhammer for when you just need a screwdriver. I'm really not bad at it. Somebody just asked, you can code on iOS, sort of, kind of. You really need some server backend. Really, it's like web development. You're not going to do iOS development. Somebody asked, are you still going to the gym at 5 a.m. or has that changed? I do. I start my day. My kind of morning routine starts at 5 a.m. I go to the gym right away. Then I'll go and get coffee and kind of do a little bit of writing, get ready for work if it's a weekday and things like that. Let's see here. All right. Next question. Francesco, also same Francesco, asked, how do you see the iPad being used in 5 years as a productivity tool? Will it be an additional dashboard experience or a main hub? I actually really like this question because it got me thinking a little bit. I really think that's going to actually depend on this year. I think it really depends on what iOS 13 brings. iOS 13 is supposed to be a really big iPad release. That's the rumors, at least. You put as much stock in that as you want. But I I think for a lot of people, what's going to end up happening is the next 5 years or so, they're going to realize, hey, all I need a computer for is surfing the web, checking email, paying a couple of bills, things like that. And I think the iPad will be more than enough for them. I think a lot of people, I still know a lot of people that have the traditional family computer, have like the iMac sitting in the family room at the family desk. And I have a feeling a lot of that will go away. And it'll just be like, you have a family iPad, or everyone just has their own iPad or something like that. Now, I don't think like the Mac or traditional computers is going to go away completely. I think for a lot of people, you're going to have like special effects artists and things like that, and people that develop like video games and iOS games or whatever, that still need that traditional computer with that traditional software. But I think for a lot of people, the iPad is going to be a huge deal. It definitely needs some improvements. I think for the biggest deal for me is I really want to see like Files app improvements. I've been trying to do some stuff with the Files apps, and I keep running into bugs. It's not that it can't do it; it's just there's bugs. I have like files that are a gig large or something like 1 to 2 gigs. I'll try to upload them, and it'll crash, or it just will never upload, or things like that. Again, I'm doing YouTube Live, so if you guys are watching this after the fact, I apologize if I make any mistakes or anything like that. It's just kind of an off-the-cuff thing. It's completely unedited. It's raw, so I apologize. iOS, somebody just mentioned iOS is missing file management. I mean, it's there. File management is there. There are APIs that developers can take advantage of. IA Writer just did a big update where you can actually like pull in files from third-party services like Dropbox, and you can do it from iCloud as well. And then you can put those files back. File management's there. Apps just need to start taking advantage of it. And I think that's going to be a big push for me this year, is to focus on apps that take advantage of the Files app and take advantage of shortcuts. If apps take advantage of that, and it's appropriate, like I'm not expecting a music app to take advantage of the Files app, but you know what I kind of mean. Like I'm not expecting Apple Music to do that. I hope that iOS will get every Mac OS functionality like coding, but optimized for touch. Every Mac OS functionality, might be a little bit of overkill. I think iOS is the place where we can kind of rethink what computing is. Somebody just mentioned they love their 2018 12.9-inch iPad. I love that. Another person just mentioned the iPad needs mouse and external drive support to replace computer. I don't think it needs it to replace a computer. I think a lot of people that use external drives could probably, for me at least, I stopped using external drives because those weren't getting backed up. If I had like photos or something on them, they crash, they're gone. That happened to me a long time ago. I lost years worth of photos because I kept them on an external drive and I wasn't backing it up, and it completely went away. What's great about cloud storage and stuff like that is you don't have to worry about that, and the iPad could definitely be there. The mouse support would be nice for things, but I don't think it needs it. Somebody just mentioned the iPad. The iPad should not become like a computer. I think the iPad should be its own thing. The iPad is a computer. Like in the definition of the word computer, it is a computer, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be a traditional computer. You don't need to have to sit down with it with a mouse and keyboard and stuff like that. Somebody just asked where I like to go on vacation. I haven't taken a vacation in years, so I'm probably the worst person to ask about that. Let's see here. The next question I got here is I want to know how you're so good at Siri shortcuts. I'm okay. I've tried watching your videos, but I don't understand the scripting parts of the more complex variables. I just did another video kind of going back to the basics. You can look for it in the shortcuts playlist. I also linked, if you go into the description of this video, I thought ahead this time of doing this Q&A. And I put a couple of links to some answers in the questions below. Matthew Casanelli, he used to work at the workflow team, which became Shortcuts. He has a YouTube channel where he talks about shortcut stuff, and I think he does a much better job than me about explaining it. So check out his channel. He does some really good stuff in there. The link is below. Let's see here. Let's see here. Somebody asked, you have to think what an iPad is an interface could do. It's comparing your new girlfriend to the old one. You won't find anything but frustration. I disagree because I've had a MacBook Pro and I've had an iPad Pro, and I like my iPad Pro better than my MacBook Pro. So, iPad Pro is a computer. iPad is a computer in its definition. So is the iPhone. Yeah, the iPhone is a computer. It's just a small one. Yeah, it's not a big deal. All shortcuts activated by Siri. No, you can go into the Shortcuts app and activate it, or you can do it in the Today widget, or do what I do, and I made shortcuts to shortcuts on the desk on my home screen for my iPad, and there's a video in the shortcuts playlist about that. Sorry, these questions come in really quick, so I have to kind of scroll back. Coming from a Windows PC, touch and cloud takes some getting used to, but I'm getting there. It does. I mean, back in the day, I mean, up until about 2008, 2007, I was really big into Windows. It took some getting used to Mac OS, and it takes some use to getting used to iPad. I wish I could bypass the TV app. I'm not sure what that means, but I wish the TV app was better. I actually really like the idea behind it, but it's not very good. Let's see here. Sorry, these are really going in first. When will you do a full tutorial on editing on a podcast? Or when will you do a full tutorial on editing a podcast on an iPad? I'm planning it. I'm going to do 2 videos actually, because I've had a lot of questions about how. In fact, I have one right here. Let's see if I can find it. It's actually the next question on the list. It's, hey Chris, can you tell me how you make your voice setup sound so good in Ferrite? Honestly, right now my audio may not sound great because I'm using my studio and I haven't quite got the audio figured out. But when I do my podcast, I do it in my office, which is my bedroom, to be honest. But I have a little more control. It's a smaller room, so I have so much more control over the audio in there. I could put up soundproofing panels and things like this. If you saw the other side of this, it is just open and echoey, and I need to fix it. But that's down the road a little bit. But I'm going to do 2 videos. I'm going to do one video focusing on how I record audio and how I record a podcast, and a second one just of a walkthrough of how I edit in Ferrite. I think I tried to do both in one video once already, and I think it was just too much in one video. So I think it was just too much. Did I miss something back here? See, a lot of YouTubers have somebody else helping them out when they do these Q&As, and I think that might not be a bad idea because there's a lot going on all at once. Okay, let's move to the next question I got here. Any advice moving from a MacBook Pro to an iPad? It's kind of the same thing I always say. Just make a list of what you do on your Mac and find software, apps, services, whatever on the iPad, iOS that works for that, and not compromise it. Stuff that actually works for you that you enjoy using. That's what I did when I moved from my MacBook Pro to an iPad. Sorry, I got the hiccups. And yeah, I mean, it works just fine. I enjoy it. I like doing that. Sorry, let me back up for a second. When you move from a MacBook Pro to an iPad, make a list of everything you need to do. It works really well. I'm actually my next video is a bigger video focusing on kind of just getting started on the iPad. It's going to be a bunch of different random tips and stuff that you could do. Do you think the iPhone is as capable as, I'm not sure what you mean the iPhone is as capable as an iPad? Yeah, sure. With Siri shortcuts, now you could use any IFTTT non-native HomeKit gadget you have. Siri shortcuts, if the app supports shortcuts, but it doesn't support HomeKit, yeah, you could do like non-native HomeKit stuff in shortcuts, but the app would have to support HomeKit. Let's see here. I see you have a Flash sticker on your iPad. Do you watch the show? How about the original? I do watch the new show. It hasn't been very good since season 1, but like the DC CW TV shows, those are like my guilty pleasure soap opera shows. They're like my mindless, hey, it's been a long day at work, so I'll watch those. But the Flash show hasn't really been as good as it used to be, or at least since season 1. Like now it's very, it's honestly very soap opera-y. It's very, everyone's keeping secrets, and oh no, evil twin brother showed up, and stuff like that. You know, somebody's going to show up with a goatee, and it's going to be the evil twin brother. So, did I watch the original? I did never watch the original. Daryl Baxter asked, have you ever played, and I'm going to mess this up, Onimusha, Onimusha? Sorry, I probably butchered that, on the Switch yet. I have not. I actually had to look it up what it was. Sorry, Daryl, I haven't. I'll check it out. Another person asked, what's my favorite Switch game? My favorite Switch game is probably Breath of the Wild, because it's really good. It is a really good game. They followed up the question with, what is there anything I'm looking forward to coming to the Switch? Animal Crossing 2019. The original one, the GameCube one, I put almost like 2 years into that game. I love that game. It is mindless and pointless, and it is very relaxing. I prefer relaxing games over high-stress games any day. So, yeah, that's me. I have a problem with media storage using LumaFusion. I have a 2 terabyte iCloud account, but it's usually in... man, these things go away quick. But it's usually the initial loading the media into photos from the SD card. How do you manage that? Okay, so how I manage my media in LumaFusion is usually I will shoot stuff with my iPhone. I do have another camera I use sometimes, but it's not as high a quality as my iPhone. I will take those and airdrop them to my iPad. That adds everything to the Photos app, which is annoying. I really wish I could specify, hey, airdrop this to the Files app. You can do it if you cause an error. It's a mess. But what I will then do is I will put photos and files next to each other, drag and drop the media into an app called Local Storage. I've talked about it a bunch. I drop it into that folder, and then I'll import it into the LumaFusion folder. What I have been doing lately, that was what I was doing before. What I have been doing lately is LumaFusion now has a media folder. So I put that, so I just drag and drop the media into that, and that's under the On My iPad section, the LumaFusion folder, media, and you can drag it in there, so it automatically imports it into LumaFusion. It's on the disk, so then that means it won't like wipe itself when it thinks it's not needed anymore. I just saw another question. Do you know of any virtual PCs for iPads besides Shadow? Need something to access a real PC, maybe a couple times a month. Shadow is meant for gaming, and it's pricey. I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I made my own Linux box. I took an Intel NUC and made a Linux box for when I need some stuff, but honestly, I haven't used it in so long. I haven't really needed it. It was more of like a worst case scenario, break glass if needed kind of thing. But I set it up and I never really needed it. The Intel NUCs are pretty cheap, so that might be a way to go. Look, what app do you use for your thumbnails? I edit photos in Lightroom, then I'll add text if I need to with like Pixelmator or something like that. Hi, Chris. Have you tried using Wi-Fi WD drives for external storage? If not, is there something you're interested in? I've seen those. I have not tried them yet. They're a little on the pricey side, which, I mean, they're around, I think they're around $300. I might try them eventually. They look interesting. I've heard good things about them, especially the newer ones that are SSD and not spitting drives. They're pretty quick. I'd very much like to try that. But I haven't yet. I should do that. I should order one of those. I also want to use external hard drive to import 4K videos into LumaFusion. Just waiting on iOS 13. I mean, I wouldn't wait on iOS 13 because it's not a given. A lot of people, I keep hearing like iOS 13 is going to solve all the problems. I hope it solves all the problems, but we don't know if it will. So I wouldn't wait on iOS 13. That previously mentioned Western Digital wireless passport drive thing, that will actually import media directly into LumaFusion if you need that. Let's see here. Next question. Are you getting the smart battery case? So the smart battery case for the iPhone XS, XS Max, and XR just came out. I'm still on the iPhone X. I didn't really feel the need to upgrade. I don't use my, I used to use my iPhone a lot. I used to have a job where I had to drive around a lot, had to use GPS, things like that. And it was definitely something that was really important to me. Honestly, now I barely touch my iPhone. I pretty much work off my iPad all day long. I'll check my phone in the morning, and when I'm like sitting down and watching TV in the evenings, I'll check my phone. If it wasn't for like needing a phone number attached to it, I probably wouldn't even have a phone anymore because I just don't I don't use them. I mean, I guess it's, when you're out and about and stuff, it's good to have, but I use my iPad for everything. Have you recorded an episode on your podcast? I'm not sure what that means. I'm sorry. Clarify. One last question that I have on the pre-recorded questions, or pre-sent questions. Where do you get your stickers? I put a link into the description below. It's in the description. It's just an Amazon thing. There's like a whole bunch of them there, but I put the pack that I ordered in there. You can pick from all the other packs. It's just like this random assortment of stickers. I have no idea where they get them from. Hopefully it's okay and there's no copyright infringement stuff, but if there is, sorry. But yeah, no, that's pretty much it for my requested questions. You guys have any more questions for me? Right, I can keep going. I don't have anything going on right now. I just need to finish up another video. I am pretty excited for this next video. It's basically going to be a bunch of tips and stuff on basically using the iPad and getting started on the iPad. I take a ton of handwritten notes on my iPad with the pencil. Do you know the wear rates on the tips? So I had my original Apple Pencil for both generations of iPad Pros, so the original 12.9 and the second generation 12.9, and I never once replaced the tip. So I don't think there is a wear issue, but maybe I don't know. Was wondering just because I don't want to damage my screen. No, you're not going to damage the iPad screens unless you're doing something really crazy with them. But no, those tips are meant to work on those screens. And if you're really worried about it, you can get something like a screen protector. The Paper-like is a really good one to work with the Apple Pencil. Thanks for the QA, Chris. I've commented before about basic Siri shortcuts video. I still don't fully get it. Even if I try to modify permanent, I end up breaking it. It's totally okay. I mean, I was totally there in the same boat. It took me a while. I just would take people's shortcuts that were 80-90% of the way to what I wanted and just figure out how to make them that way. I made an intro to basic shortcuts video, and then, like I mentioned before, if you weren't watching, in the description there's a link to a channel. The guy's name's Matthew Casanelli. He used to work at Workflow. He does a YouTube channel on shortcut stuff. He's really good at describing that. How frequently do you upload videos? Once or more a week? I am you can't really put a schedule on how I do it. It's just whenever I get a video done, it gets uploaded. I'm trying to do at least one video a week. I'd like to do 2 videos a week, but I had some stuff change at work right now, and it's just a really busy time. So it's kind of just not a great time personally. So yeah. Hey, somebody comment on the beard. Thank you. This is the winter coat. It gets a little longer in the winter. Summertime, I like to keep it shorter, but in the wintertime, it's a little longer. Yeah, I would like to get more videos out. I do want to hear from you guys and what you want to see, because a lot of time I just sit around and come up with ideas, and then I type it in. I have a Paper-like on the way. I have an issue with viewing angles without any screen protector. Will the Paper-like help that? So the Paper-like doesn't hinder viewing angles. The things that happen, what happens to it is on like stuff that has a really white background, you kind of get this grainy look to it. And it's a side effect of the kind of coating it uses for the screen protector, so that it makes the Apple Pencil feel like you're writing on paper. It's a trade-off. I like the Paper-like. I think it's really good. I need to order a new one for this iPad, and so I can kind of try it out again. But I had it on the previous one. They did send it to me, so if it's not, they didn't pay me or anything to do it, and you can't really buy me off with like a $30 product. But they did send it to me for free to try out, so there is that. Somebody asked, when will the next video be coming? Just whenever I get it finished. I'd really like to see some other shortcut video tutorials. I really loved yours. Yeah, I just need to come up with more shortcuts to do a tutorial on. I enjoy your podcast. Is there a place where I could pick up a slab of glass sticker? Jeff and I need to figure that one out. I just ordered new stickers, but they came in and they were a lot smaller than what I wanted them to be, so I need to reorder some more. Paper-like versus matte screen protector, what's your opinion? The Paper-like is the only screen protector I've ever tried on an iPad, so I would say Paper-like. What is the best screen protector there for the iPad that isn't the Paperlike. Haven't tried any that aren't. Also, really appreciate the answers, man. I got your little cable / charger EDC organizer bag from Amazon. Yes, I did a what's in my bag video. My bag's right there. That's where I'm pointing over there. And I had a bunch of cool stuff in there. I really like my cable bag. I've had it for a few years now, to be honest. And that thing, it's cheap. There's like no real manufacturer, but it's just awesome. Yeah, I really like it. I use Snapseed on my iPhone for my thumbnail pictures. Yeah, Snapseed's pretty great. My problem with Snapseed is it doesn't. There's a lot of options in there that you could really screw up your photos if you're not 100% sure what you're doing. Like, you can really mess it up. I like Lightroom. But that's mostly because before I went to the iPad, I was like fully into the Adobe suite. I knew After Effects, Premiere, Photoshop like the back of my hand. Yeah, I like Lightroom, but the other one that's really interesting too is Darkroom. Darkroom was an iPhone app and just came to the iPad, and it's really good. Lightroom has a subscription to it. Darkroom is, I think you just pay for like filters or something if you want the filters, or yeah, I think that's what it is. Do you know of Talos of Tech? Yes, I do know of him. Want an iPad for work in a hospital. Would the iPad Pro 11-inch be small enough to carry around, or should I wait until the iPad Mini? The iPad Pro 11-inch is pretty small. I mean, when I had one, I don't have it now. I returned mine to get the 12.9. But it was pretty small. I liked carrying it around with me. It was great. The 12.9, honestly, the new 12.9 is a lot smaller than the previous one, so that works for carrying around too, but the 11's better for that. Let's see here. Any other questions, guys? Been going on for about almost a half hour now, so probably wrap up here because I don't know if anybody will ever want to watch a half-hour video of me rambling and touching the screen to scroll backwards. How are you guys liking your iPad? Somebody just said Things 3 stars. Yeah, I like Things 3. It's pretty great. Hello, have you found a way to export from your iPad direct to an external drive through USB-C? No, there's no way right now. Any non-tech things you nerd out about? I've been really, well, I guess the Nintendo Switch is a tech thing. I would say craft beer, but I'm put that on hold for medical reasons. I talked about it in my What's in My Bag video. I'm diabetic. Beer, a lot of carbs, not great for type 1 diabetic, so yeah. Have you subscribed to PewDiePie? No, I do not subscribe to PewDiePie. I don't. I'm sorry. I'm just not interested in those videos. I also got your cord organizer for USB-C hub from your What's in the Back. Love them both. Awesome, that's great. What is your camera gear do you use to record video? Just my iPhone. Have you tried Affinity Photo? Yes, I have tried Affinity Photo. My problem with Affinity Photo is it's very confusing to use. It is really, I know Photoshop really well. Affinity Photo is very confusing. So it's weird. If you buy the iPad version of Things 3, can you download it for your iPhone without any charge? No, the Things 3 iPad and iPhone versions are separate. I think they did that so that if you only use an iPhone, you weren't paying $30 for the app kind of thing. I like the way you make your videos generally. You should consider some Switch videos. I've thought about it. I just don't really have anything to say that hasn't been said already. So the iPad is kind of unique because there's not a whole lot of people talking about them. So yeah, I got that. T-Series is catching it. Let's see here. Notability versus GoodNotes. GoodNotes 5 just came out and it's pretty cool. I need to spend a little more time with it before I can fully answer that question. But GoodNotes 5 it's pretty cool. I like that. If you paid for GoodNotes 4, they have like an upgrade option, so I think it's free, maybe? I don't know. I didn't even look into it. The upgrade deal wasn't even live, so I just bought GoodNotes 5, even though I had GoodNotes 4. I like supporting developers. I know not everybody is in that situation, but I really do like supporting developers. And when they make an app like that, like I have no problem buying it, because I use GoodNotes all the time. Let's see here. How can an Adobe CC user work on an iPad? Pray Adobe brings proper Adobe CC to the iPad. It just kind of depends, I guess, on what you're using. If you're just using Lightroom and Photoshop's coming to the iPad later this year. Lightroom's already on the iPad. You'll be good. If you need like Adobe Premiere Pro, there's Adobe Rush. You can do basic edits, but it is not a very good application. I need to double check, but I still think it doesn't even support keyboard shortcuts. I mean, what video editing application doesn't support keyboard shortcuts? Yeah, GoodNotes 5 is an upgrade for free if you have GoodNotes 4. Yeah, Adobe Rush, it's just not good. Oh, Pikachu just said hi. Pikachu. Yeah, I'm a '90s kid. I'm a sucker for Pokemon. I played Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu. I got that one, and it's great. I liked it. What are some practical examples of using shortcuts? For me, I use it to manage my task manager every day. I use it to manage my smart home stuff. I use it for everything. Really, I mean, practical examples. I mean, just think about, like, do you have a task in your life you do multiple times? And is it based on an iOS device or something like that? You could just you can make it through shortcuts. Well, hopefully you can make it through shortcuts, and it'll make your life a little easier. I think I have. Let me check here really quick. I'll check to see how many shortcuts I have. I have a shortcut for counting shortcuts. I have 98 shortcuts right now. Now, not all of them are used. Some of them are like stuff I made for other people, but I would say at least 3/4 of them are ones that I do. How much is it more expensive than LumaFusion? So somebody just asked, Adobe Rush, is it more expensive than LumaFusion? So Adobe Rush is a subscription thing unless you have Adobe CC, I believe. I canceled my CC subscription a while ago, so I don't remember. LumaFusion is a flat $20. They haven't charged any more since I've been using the app. I don't know if they will in the future, but I've been using it for 2 years now, and that $20 is gone a long ways. I really like I really like LumaFusion. It's just such a good application. It's, in my opinion, it's the best iPad application. It is the example of what iPad apps should strive to. The only thing I wish I could do in that app is customize the keyboard shortcuts. Yeah. All right, guys. Any other questions? I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Somebody just asked, what are your thoughts on the keyboard folio? It is okay. It's not terrible, but they could have done a much better job designing a keyboard. I'm really excited about the bridge keyboard that's coming out. We'll see. It's not shipping till May, and I didn't pre-order it because I was like, I don't want to. They're charging people up front for a product that ships in May, and I'm like, that just doesn't seem right to me. So I'll pick it up when it comes out. I don't feel right about pre-ordering something, them taking my money, and then saying it's not shipping for months. So yeah, we'll go from there. Somebody just asked, what do I think of the Word app? I don't really use the Microsoft Office apps, but I am planning to do something on those. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate everything you guys do, all the likes and videos, or sharing and subscribing. I'm stumbling over my words, which isn't great when you're doing a live video because it means I can't edit it. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you later. If you missed part of this, I will be uploading the whole video here just shortly. So just stay tuned, and that'll take care of it.